Before we start today's video, check out our merch shop, linked in the description down below. Use code Ahsoka in all caps to get $7 off your order. May the Force be with you, and enjoy the vid.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
I really cannot believe that it is actually over. This is my Skeleton Crew finale breakdown video. We are going to be discussing a number of different references, Easter eggs, and things that you might have missed throughout the final episode of Skeleton Crew Season 1. Hopefully, there's some type of continuation of this show, and if not with the show itself with a second season, maybe some type of continuation with these characters in the future of the Mandoverse. And that's definitely something that has been open-ended and something that we recently got to discuss here on the channel into the regards of a continuation or the future of this show, Skeleton Crew. We're going to go ahead, we're going to hop right on into it, kind of break it all down for you guys with everything that we know and everything that we're anticipating here. Not just that, but also stay on the lookout towards the end of today's video as we're going to be discussing some of the future of Skeleton Crew, its characters, and even some of its plot lines. This video is also acting as a bit of a review, so I'll have my own thoughts sprinkled on throughout, by which I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. If you're enjoying the content so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. It really helps the channel grow and lets you know when I upload new videos here almost daily. You'll get instant access to the newest Star Wars news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns right here. By subscribing to our channel, you're not just supporting the channel, you're joining a community of awesome other people who love a galaxy far, far away. Plus, hitting that bell icon will ensure that you never miss out on any of our videos. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you are liking it, and drop a comment down below to let me know what you guys may be thinking. I'd love to hear from you. That is all. Now, let's get back to the video.
We would be honored if you would join us.
And so, the finale of Skeleton Crew is here. Also check out our initial thoughts and reaction video here on the channel as well for that. After the massive cliffhanger of Jod Nana Wood igniting his lightsaber just as the kids are reunited with their parents and families, we'll now have to see how Wim, KB, Neil, and Fern get out of this one. And it was rather easy, actually. The title of this episode is The Real Good Guys, which they do reference in the episode itself as into the New Republic, or the X-Wings, as the children come to the conclusion of. We open exactly where we left off in episode 7, titled We're Gonna Be in So Much Trouble. However, Fern's mother, Farah, thanks him, thinking that he is indeed a Republic emissary who has brought their children back. The common answer to that, as of to many people's explanations as of to why the parents aren't really intimidated by this lightsaber, and maybe actually what Jod was trying to go for, is the fact of that, like, oh, I'm a Jedi, look at my lightsaber, I'm such a hero, kind of thing. Jod puts the lightsaber back rather quick and introduces himself, puts the saber away, and begins to spin a story about how much trouble the kids are in for stealing a ship and putting At-Atin at risk for being discovered to the rest of the galaxy. Jod commands the security droids to confine the children to their homes and watch them while the Old Republic credits are being loaded up onto the Onyx Cinder. Wendell, Wim's father, doesn't think that it's all really that necessary, but Fern begins to talk back, but Jod offers to take her and her mother to meet with the mysterious supervisor, taking them hostage without them kind of knowing, essentially. The rest of the security droids take away the rest of the kids and their parents away back to their homes and pretty much put them on house arrest. Wim and Wendell are in their home as the security droid watches them eat their dinner. When Wim says he doesn't want to take the assessment and join the great work of At-Atin, it begins an argument with his father. Wim almost reveals that Jod isn't actually truly a Jedi, but stops in his tracks and just short of apologizes, so he doesn't reveal anything in front of the security droid, is what I assume. He tries to warn his dad that more people are out there, like the pirate ship waiting just outside the barrier, who wants to ruin At-Atin. Wendell says that's why the supervisor protects them all and returns to his eating, thinking nothing much of it. Up in his room, Wim calls Neil on his walkie-talkie to try and get help to save Fern, but he's found by the security droid, as the security droid mentions that all communication is forbidden or must be reported. And as for Fern, it's a tense ride to the top of the supervisor tower with her, Jod, and her mother, Farah, and the security droids as well. But it is finally the big reveal of who exactly or what exactly the supervisor is of At-Atin, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that my theory came true. It was a droid. The door opens and it's an empty computer room with no one there, and much rather actually even dusty. There are layers of dust on just about everything, clearly abandoned for quite some time, as no actual organic beings per se have been there. a gigantic cylinder device begins to turn, and it's revealed that the supervisor is a massive droid that leads the people and controls everything on At-Aten as the great work is decreed. Jod introduces himself and even chuckles at the matter of that At-Aten is ruled by a droid. As he weaves the same story for the supervisor, Fern whispers to her mother that this is all simply a trick and that Jod really isn't a good guy. Jod requests his other ship to be allowed to pass through the barrier, making Farah question him as that's not the protocol usually. Jod threatens her, telling her to obey, something that the supervisor agrees with. Only there is a problem. The last message from the Republic had actually stated that all Jedi were traitors, which would be the events of the Order 66 and the conclusion of the prequel trilogy. The supervisor asks if he's lying about being an emissary of the New Republic or about being a Jedi, which in this case we all know is him lying about being an emissary if for anything. I wouldn't necessarily rule him out as a Jedi. I think that that's still a bit foggy and honestly comes as one of my many only disappointments, much rather, of Skeleton Crew's finale. I still have a couple other questions about the show in itself, like a true backstory to be revealed of Jod Nana Wood, but we did get some explanations. Anyway, Fern screams that Jod is indeed a pirate. The security droid springs into action, firing stun bolts at him. Deflecting a few, Jod whips around and stabs the supervisor in its eye. It shuts down the entire program with all the security droids and all of the power across the city. One by one, the security droids begin to collapse as Jod reveals his true colors to Farah. He looks for the barrier override, finding a big handle that will destroy the barrier. Farah negotiates that she can give his ship access to pass through as long as he takes his credits and leaves without harming anyone. But after threatening Fern at lightsaber point, Farah agrees to help him. He sends a message to Gunter, who is currently in control of the massive pirate vessel, to begin their invasion, and just like that, it gets tense quite quick. The pirate ship descends towards At-Aten with no trouble, going right through the barrier. Realizing the droids are now down, Wim races to his father to tell him the truth about Jod. They run outside to see the pirate ship landing already, and the ship begins to fire away on the people of At-Aten and most of the buildings and partially of the streets to just send off those warning shots is pretty much what that was. It wasn't really intentional trying to hurt anybody, but it probably did. Suddenly, Neil and KB arrive on their hoverbikes to pick him up. They have a plan to get back to the Onyx Cinder, fly out past the barrier, and call Kim, from episode 3, the owl-like lady, and hope that X-Wings will come and save them all in time. Wim grabs his bike, and the kids speed away. Wendell borrows a hover bike of his own to follow just as the pirates land in smaller vessels to cause more mayhem and terror, including taking KB's mother prisoner. The kids race on their hoverbikes, and pew pew, the pirates are hot on their trail. They weave off of the road and into the woods to find more cover and where they actually had originally found the Onyx Cinder. Leaping the chasm, Wendell whoops and cheers at having the best time and realizes that this is actually kind of fun. The victory doesn't last long as the pirates are right on their tail again. They zoom into their school building, driving through the hallways to try and lose the pirates. Neil gets thrown from his bike, and I was worried for a second, but he tells him to keep on going, and that he has another plan to help them get the Onyx Cinder actually past the other pirate ship. Remember in episode 4, when the kids had went to the war-torn planet of At-Archeron, he befriended a girl named Hana who revealed their school has a giant cannon built into it, and so does At-Aten. Neil is going for the big gun. Wim, KB, and Wendell get to the ship, the Onyx Cinder. The dad is incredibly impressed with their vessel. However, when they try to take off, the ship is still clamped to the docking system, so it really can't move. And the only way to undo the clamps, they need power, and all of the power is rerouted in the supervisor's tower. Wendell looks at Wim, his son, and says, "Son, you're talking to a level 7 systems coordinator. Get on the bike," which I love that line, and I love how giddy his dad honestly gets. Like, it isn't the usual just worrisome parent, kind of like every other parent is throughout Skeleton Crew, or even for that matter, inside and out of just Star Wars stories for that matter, and he's actually trying to help them and sees that they have an idea and is actually listening to them, which is kind of satisfying, I think, if for anything, unlike Farah, Farah, Fern's mother. But anyway, they begin to race off towards the tower. Inside the tower, Farah is mourning everything that is going on and happening. Fern is about done with her mom's sadness, encouraging her to act. There are good people, even in the worst places, that will help. Fern tells Farah to trust her. If her mom can create a distraction, Fern will get a droid rifle to stun Jod. Jod shoots off towards them, breaking up their scheming, and he puts a call over the PA system telling the citizens of At-Aten that they all now work for him and for the Old Republic Mint. After a quick run from the pirates again, with Vane warning Jod, Wim arrives in the elevator tube, seemingly all by himself. He says that he's called the X-Wings and that it's over for Jod. Jod doesn't believe him, because the barrier jams are all, of course, of communication are jammed. Wim makes up a lie that if someone has the crystal of the founders, spinning a story for Jod. The only issue is that Wim says that the whole Jedi army will save them, and Jod counters that there are no more Jedi, as he was seemingly a part of the events of Order 66. The kids now need to work on their stories, and this is where Fern joins the long tail to help keep Jod, away from Wendell, who was also in the elevator and had creeped past them to turn on the power. Wendell does get to the power, and everyone springs into action. Wim calls KB, Fern goes for a stun rifle, the parents scatter as Jod shoots towards Wendell. Jod fires at the droid Fern is trying to steal from, pulling everyone back into the center of the room and taking them all back hostage rather quickly. KB is able to take off in the Onyx Sunder, quickly getting the attention of the pirates on the ground, and she's not alone. While she was waiting, KB actually fixed up SM-33 after Jod had disabled him in the last episode. Well, sort of fixed. She has to kind of hold up his head while the rest of his body are attached to the cords, of course, but it does work out. Just as the pirates target her ship, Neil hits them with the big cannon on top of the school. It doesn't last too long, with him only getting a few shots off, and Neil scrambles out of the way of the cannon safely before the pirates blow it up. KP makes it fast past the barrier, immediately calling Kim. The Owl Lady gives her coordinates, saying that the X-Wings are on the way, but the ship of the Onyx Cinder is hit. Gunter didn't leave the space unattended outside of the barrier. Two small pirate ships fire upon it, striking the Onyx Cinder, making it crash. The vessel falls through the atmosphere, with SM-33 fighting to keep it steady as it careens out of control. KB's mothers, Wim, Fern, and their parents watch in horror as the ship tumbles out of the barrier and into the planet. KB's moms tell her that she can fix anything. Fern watches in horror as the ship topples, and topples, then hitting the grounds into the school, smoke rising from it. Fern screams for her best friend in pain, and Jod blames KB's supposed demise upon the kids, saying if they just listened to him, that she would have been okay. No hope that they will get through the barrier anyway, but he probably doesn't know that she was able to actually get that call out. Fern, taking a page from Wim in episode 1, turns to the big lever that will destroy the barrier for good and makes a run for it. Farah tries to stop her, pulling Jod's attention to them. He fires at Fern, with Farah narrowly tackling her daughter to the ground from being hit. The pirate throws Wendell to the ground with the force, and Wim races to the handle. And Jod is holding his father at lightsaber point, threatening to kill him if Wim pulls it. Wim says that the real good guys will come to save him. Jod yells at him to grow up once more, and that the X-Wings will need to actually have the barrier down in order to actually get through. Jod then, finally interestingly enough, shares a little bit more of his backstory. He shares that when he was a youngling and living in poverty, a Jedi woman had found him. He wasn't with her for long before the event of Order 66 had hunted her down. The Empire made him watch while she was killed. That's the galaxy, he says. It's dark, with a few pinpricks of light. I'll kill who I need to kill, he says. Wim relents, letting go of the handle. In a moment of tension, Jod sheaths his lightsaber once more, and Wim runs to hug his father. Jod then makes the biggest villain mistake. He begins a monologue about how he doesn't want to hurt people, and they can still live their lives just as slaves to him. Wendell gets up and punches him mid-monologue, and I loved it. I mean, it was worth it. The men fight for the handle while Wim races for the lightsaber. Jod pulls as the weapon with the Force as Wim and Fern fight to hold onto it. Fern begs for her mother's help. And this was pissing me off, I'm not gonna lie. Farah was just being so slow this whole time, but she finally takes that deep that deep breath and takes a leap of faith for her own daughter and pulls down the handle with Wendell as well. The lights flare outside of the barrier as the barrier begins to fall, beacon by beacon, revealing the stars, the true stars, and the planet of At-Aten to the rest of the galaxy. Whooshing is heard in the distance. The New Republic. An entire fleet of New Republic squadrons swoop in. The pirates flee towards their ships, but the New Republic is making their quick work of it. As the pirate vessel falls from the sky, Jod watches as Wim, Fern, and their parents run out of the supervisor's tower. He's lost, and he admits that he's lost, and it's quite honestly honorable. He watches it all burn up into the sky and crumble into the ground. Now, while it's kind of implied as to what happens to Jod Nana-Wood, they never show what happens to Jod Nana-Wood. They just leave the supervisor tower, and it's still him in the supervisor tower as he looks out the window. Like, was he going to be arrested by the New Republic, or is he still out there is kind of the burning question that many fans do have. Fern and Wim race to where the Onyx Cinder had crashed into the school, and Neil meets them there. The hatch opens and KB rolls out of the ship. She's indeed okay. I mean, it's Disney. Come on, they don't kill kids. And so is SM-33 and the snowball rat that lives in his eyeball. This was the conclusion of Skeleton Crew, as it concludes with the New Republic arriving on At-Aten and At-Aten seemingly being revealed to the rest of the galaxy. Wim watches them with a massive smile on his face. And that's it. That's how it ends. And I liked it. I loved it. I think it was a great conclusion and a great finale to an awesome show. In itself, I kind of touched on it in our reaction video initially here on the channel. My only disappointment I felt like with Skeleton Crew is that it just didn't have a greater, grander connection to the rest of the Mandoverse. You know, I love those cameos. I know some people hate those cameos. Maybe this was a nice opportunity to take a break from those cameos at the same time, though. But you look at other Mandoverse shows, you have the Mandalorian show up in the Book of Boba Fett, and you have Ahsoka show up in the Mandalorian show, so forth and so on. You would kind of hope that there would be some type of connection, even if it wasn't another, like, self-centered Mandoverse character like Ahsoka, Mando, or Boba Fett. Maybe for that matter, it could have been Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, or Leia Organa. I think might have been one of the most likely ones to have had in Skeleton Crew. At the end of the episode, when the New Republic is rolling into At-Aten, there's a Republic freighter. Many believe that maybe that was where Leia was and kind of take that as their headcanon, like that was kind of their reference to her. But yeah, that's kind of what I also like to believe. Will there be a second season? I can't say that there's a need for a second season, but more adventures with these kids I think would quite be great. And you also kind of have to also take into consideration, as I touched on, that Jod Nana-Wood, they leave that kind of open-ended. It's something I want to make a whole nother video on and theorize on, so stay on the lookout for that by grabbing the subscribe button. And of course, guys, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for joining us today, Star Wars fans. If you're passionate about all things of a galaxy far, far away, whether it's the movies, TV shows, legends, or deep dives into more Star Wars lore, you've come to the right place. We're here to talk about everything from the rise of the Jedi to the fall of the Empire and so much more. We break down your favorite characters, unpack hidden Easter eggs, and give you our predictions for the next big adventure in the Star Wars universe. And whether you're a Padawan or a seasoned Jedi Master, we've got something for you. And if you want to take your Star Wars fandom to the next level, make sure to check out our online merch shop linked in the description down below. We've also got a couple of codes for you guys to get some cash off, so definitely use those. But we offer anything from t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and so much more, so check those out. You'll also find a couple of affiliate links down there as well. At no additional cost, you can support the channel. So check out our links in the description down below. Don't also forget to follow us on our social medias as well for even more Star Wars content. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook, bringing you all of the latest updates, behind the scenes sneak peeks, and all of the Star Wars fun that you can handle. All linked in the description down below. And thanks so much for being a part of the Star Wars family. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future updates and videos here on the channel. Remember to never stop exploring the galaxy, and may the Force be with you always. Peace out.